What if I told you there is one single question? A question so powerful, it can act as a perfect compass for every decision you will ever make. A question that, if you have the courage to ask it honestly, will burn away everything in your life that is trivial, inauthentic, and unworthy of you. This is not a life hack. This is a philosophical weapon, and it was forged in the mind of the most dangerous philosopher who ever lived, Friedrich Nietzsche. Think about the quiet anxiety of choice, that feeling of standing at a crossroads in your life, paralyzed by uncertainty. Should I take this job? Should I end this relationship? Should I move to this city? We are drowning in options, but starving for clarity. Society offers you a simple and childish piece of advice. You only live once. Just do what feels good. This is the philosophy of the last man, a recipe for a life of fleeting pleasures, followed by a long, bitter winter of regret. You chase the next thrill, the next distraction, hoping to outrun the quiet, nagging feeling that you are wasting your one precious life on things that do not truly matter. Nietzsche saw this trap, and he offered a terrifying, exhilarating alternative. He created a thought experiment so profound, it has the power to re-engineer your entire decision-making process. He called it the Eternal Recurrence. It is not a theory about the universe. It is a psychological test, a single question that acts as the ultimate filter for your life. Today, we are going to deconstruct this forbidden question. We will show you how to use it not just to make better decisions, but to transform your entire existence from a series of random accidents into a deliberate, meaningful work of art. To understand the power of this question, we must first hear it in its full, terrifying glory. In his book, The Gay Science, Nietzsche presents it like this. Imagine a demon crawling to you in your loneliest loneliness and whispering in your ear. This life, as you now live it and have lived it, you will have to live once more and innumerable times more. And there will be nothing new in it, but every pain and every joy and every thought and sigh and everything unutterably small. Or, great in your life will have to return to you, all in the same succession and sequence. He then asks the ultimate question. How would you react? Would you throw yourself down and gnash your teeth and curse the demon? Or would you look at the demon and say, "You are a god, and never have I heard anything more divine"? This is not a question about cosmology. Nietzsche is not asking you to believe in literal reincarnation. He is a psychologist. This is a test. It is the heaviest weight imaginable, placed upon your life. The question is simple. Does your life, as you are living it right now, have enough meaning, enough power, enough beauty, that you would joyfully consent to repeating it for all eternity? If the answer is no, then something is profoundly wrong. The Eternal Recurrence is not a philosophy of the future. It is a philosophy of the present moment. It forces you to stop living for some imaginary someday and to confront the reality of your life as it is, right here, right now. It is a fire that burns away all illusions. Let's explore the 3 ways this one question will change your life forever. The first power of the Eternal Recurrence is that it acts as the Great Eliminator of Triviality. Most of our lives are consumed by things that do not matter. Mindless scrolling on social media, shallow conversations, jobs that pay the bills but starve the soul. We tolerate this mediocrity because we believe we have time. We tell ourselves, I'll start living my real life tomorrow. Next year, when I retire, the eternal recurrence destroys this illusion. It holds up every moment of your life to the terrible standard of eternity. And when you do this, the trivial shatters. Would you be willing to relive that hour you just spent scrolling through meaningless content again and again for 1 billion years? Would you be willing to relive that conversation full of polite lies and gossip for all eternity? Would you be willing to relive that day at work where you were bored, uninspired, and just counting the hours until you could go home forever and ever? That question is so powerful, it makes the choice obvious. It forces you to become ruthless with your time and your energy. You begin to see that every moment is infinitely precious because it is potentially eternal. You stop tolerating the things that drain your life force. You start to hunger for moments that are so rich, so full of meaning, that the thought of reliving them forever is not a curse, but a blessing. This is the first step. You stop being a passive consumer of your own life. You become its ruthless curator. You cut away everything that is not worthy of eternity. For what is freedom? That one has the will to self-responsibility. Friedrich Nietzsche, Twilight of the Idols. The second power of the eternal recurrence is that it is the ultimate affirmation of the present. Our culture is sick with the disease of the future. We are taught to live for the weekend, to work for retirement, to endure the present in the hope of a better tomorrow. We sacrifice our now for a later that may never come. We live as ghosts in our own lives, our minds always somewhere else. The eternal recurrence is the cure for this sickness. It pushes you to find meaning not in some distant future, but in the raw and eternal now. When you ask, would I want to live this moment again and again? You stop weighing it by what it might bring later. You judge it for what it is. Is this moment full enough, true enough, alive enough to deserve eternity? This transforms your entire relationship with life. The goal is no longer to get through the day. The goal is to extract every drop of meaning, of intensity, of consciousness from every single second. A walk in the woods is no longer a simple exercise. It is an eternal walk. A conversation with a loved one is not just a conversation. It is an eternal conversation. A moment of intense, focused work is not just a means to an end. It is an end in itself, an act of creation worthy of being repeated forever. This is what Nietzsche meant by amor fati, the love of one's fate. But the eternal recurrence gives it a practical, moment-to-moment application. It teaches you to love your fate, not just in retrospect, but in real time. It is a call to live with such presence and intensity that you can look at any moment of your life, even the painful ones, and say, yes, this too. This is part of the story. And the story is so magnificent, I would have it again, exactly as it is. This is not a call for hedonism. The hedonist seeks to maximize pleasure and avoid pain. The man who lives by the eternal recurrence does not run from pain. He asks, is this a pain that is worthy of eternity? The pain of a hard workout that forges a strong body? Yes. The pain of a difficult conversation that leads to a deeper truth? Yes. The pain of a creative struggle that gives birth to a work of art? Yes. But the pain of a toxic relationship? The pain of a soul-crushing job? The pain of a life lived in fear and mediocrity? No, that is suffering without meaning. And that is the one thing the Eternal Recurrence commands you to destroy. That which does not kill me makes me stronger. Friedrich Nietzsche, Twilight of the Idols. The third and final power of the Eternal Recurrence is that it transforms you from a creature into a creator. When you live under the weight of this question, you are no longer a passive passenger on the ship of life. You are forced to become its captain, its navigator, and its architect. You are no longer just living. You are sculpting. You are taking the raw, chaotic marvel of your existence and carving it into a form that you yourself deem beautiful and worthy of eternity. This is the ultimate answer to the death of God. In a universe with no pre-written meaning, you have two choices. You can sink into the nihilistic despair of the last man, or you can rise to the challenge of the Bermensch, the overman. The overman is the one who does not find meaning. He creates it. And the Eternal Recurrence is his ultimate tool. It is his hammer and his chisel. Every choice becomes an act of artistic creation. If I were to live this choice for all eternity, what would it say about me? What value would it affirm? This forces you to define your own values, your own good and evil. Your good becomes whatever you are willing to will for all eternity. Your evil becomes whatever you would curse the demon for bringing back. You are no longer a follower of a moral code. You have become a creator of one. Your life is no longer a series of accidental events. It has become a deliberate work of art, with you as its heroic artist. Nietzsche believed that the ultimate justification for life is not found in pleasure or happiness, but in beauty. To be able to look at your own life, with all its tragic flaws and beautiful struggles, and see it as a great work of art. That is the highest state a human being can achieve. It is a state of profound, joyful, and life-affirming power. The Eternal Recurrence is the path to that power. It is a question that, once you truly ask it, will haunt you and guide you for the rest of your days, transforming you from a frightened animal, seeking comfort and safety, into something more, something divine, an artist of your own existence. So you see the Forbidden's question, the ultimate filter for a life without regret. It is a tool that eliminates the trivial, that sanctifies the present, that transforms you into a creator. The common phrase, "you only live once," YOLO, is the most dangerous lie you have ever been told. It is a philosophy for children. It is a license for recklessness, for short-term pleasure-seeking, for a life that burns bright and fast, leaving behind nothing but the cold ash of regret. The Nietzschean formula is the direct opposite. It is not, "you only live once." It is, "you must live as if you will live 1,000 times." This does not lead to recklessness. It leads to the ultimate form of responsibility. A responsibility to make every single moment so meaningful, so powerful, so true, that it is worthy of an eternal echo. You are not just living your life. You are composing the eternal symphony of your own soul, and you are the only one who can hear it. So how do you begin to wield this terrifying and beautiful weapon in your own life? This is not about a sudden, dramatic transformation. It is about a new way of seeing, a new question to be asked in the quiet moments of your day. First, conduct the end-of-day test. Tonight, before you go to sleep, look back on your day, not with judgment, but with the cold, clear eye of the eternal recurrence. Would you will this day to repeat for all eternity? The meetings you sat through, the conversations you had, the way you treated others, the way you treated yourself. Be honest. Most days, the answer will be a resounding no. Do not despair. This is not a reason for guilt. It is a reason for war. This is your data. It shows you exactly where the trivial, the inauthentic, and the cowardly still live in your life. It gives you your targets for tomorrow. Second, identify one eternal moment. Do not try to make your whole life eternal at once. That is impossible. Start with one thing. For the next week, your mission is to create one single hour, or even just 15 minutes per day, that you would joyfully repeat for all eternity. It could be an hour of deep, focused work on your most important project. An hour of true, present connection with someone you love. An hour of intense physical training. An hour of silent contemplation in nature. Your goal is to experience, even for a short time, what an eternal moment feels like. This will become your new compass. You will start to crave that feeling, and you will begin to ruthlessly cut away the things in your life that prevent you from experiencing it more often. Third, ask the question before the choice. The real power of this tool is not in looking back, but in looking forward. Before you make any significant choice, pause, take a breath, and ask the demon's question. If I choose this path, if I say these words, if I engage in this action, would I be content to do so for all eternity? This question will stop you in your tracks. It will cut through all the noise of social pressure, of short-term desire, of fear. It will force you to consult the deepest part of yourself, your true will. And even if you don't always have the courage to follow the answer, the act of asking the question itself is a revolutionary act. It is the beginning of your freedom. You have been given Nietzsche's heaviest weight, a question so powerful it can either crush you or transform you into a god. The choice is yours. You can continue to live a light life, a life of distraction, of half measures, of tomorrows that never come, a life that, at its end, you would beg not to have to repeat. Or you can embrace the weight. You can accept the terrifying, beautiful responsibility of becoming the artist of your own existence. You can begin the great work of sculpting a life that is so true, so powerful, so full of meaning that the thought of its eternal return is not a curse, but the ultimate blessing. Nietzsche's demon does not come to you on your deathbed. He is here, now, in this very moment, whispering in your ear. And what you do next, that is your answer. If this message has shaken you, if you are ready to stop living a disposable life and start creating an eternal one, then make your declaration. Join the men and women who are choosing to live with weight. Go to the comments and give your answer to the demon. Right, I say yes. It is a declaration of your courage, a commitment to a life without regret, an affirmation of everything you are and everything you will become. Subscribe to the Thinker's Codex. Your eternity begins now.